You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from... to... and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and this week, listeners, there is absolutely nothing I can do except see what is in the mailbag, as you have all sent in so many things that I now have to keep it outside. Yeah, it's that full of post, it won't fit in Comedy Club for Kids HQ anymore. Linda, have you seen the mailbags now outside, Linda? Ah, well. You might think that it sounds like a good thing because you know I love reading all of your messages, but due to some weird accidental travelling through space and time, the Comedy Club for Kids HQ has, it's landed in a strange frozen wasteland full of giant yetis, so going outside is actually, it's quite scary. But of course, I'll do it because, like I said, I love reading your messages, so, deep breath. Right, let's go. I can't get the door open. Phew. Okay, I'm outside and it's freezing, but there is the giant mailbag, so I'd better see what's in there. Okay, so Bioshock09 has given us a nice review on Apple Podcast, and they say, is this the producer from Bust or Trust? I love this, it is so funny. Top hat emoji. Well, thanks Bioshock09, and so pleased to see you wear your top hat for listening to podcasts. Oh, I do wish more people would give podcast listening the respect it deserves, and only wear incredibly smart clothes while tuning in. I mean, you can't tell, listeners, but I am dressed right now in an incredibly expensive coat and tails and top hat and gloves and carrying a cane just for this show. Hey, Yeti, you just ripped my nice jacket, you horrid. Oh, sorry about that, everyone. But Bioshock09, yes, I'm not the producer, but I do host Bust or Trust, a Kids Mystery Podcast. And if any of you listeners haven't given that a try, do check it out too, as we look at all sorts of strange mysteries, like the Loch Ness Monster, or aliens, or... Yes, alright, or Yetis, calm down. Anyway, thanks for listening to both shows, Bioshock09. Oh, this is so cold, but I must read more mail. So, right, Alan in Canada also gave the show a nice review on Apple saying, love this show, this is such a good podcast, 5 stars, I would highly recommend this podcast. Well, thanks, Alan, that is very kind of you. And now you've recommended it, I guess I should also check out this podcast at some point. No, I've just looked, and it's full of Yetis. I'm not sure this podcast is for me, but I might try and listen to something else that is less full of Yetis. Yes, you are annoying. I'm recording a podcast. Could you roar more quietly? Unbelievable. Oh, right. Thank you. This has been sent in via our Comedy Club for Kids page on Facebook from Liam, aged 8, and he doesn't say 8 what, so I'll guess it's seconds, in which case this is very, very good for an 8-second-year-old. Well done, Liam. And Liam cleverly got his silly melon, grown-up, to help send this excellent joke to me. So, Liam says, what do you call people waiting for a haircut on a hot day? A barbecue! Yes, I love it. Thanks, Liam. I think I might have said this before, but I think possibly a barbecue would work well. They could shorten it by putting barbecue food in people's hair, and then when they ate it, they'd chomp and cut their own hair at the same time. Liam also sent 3 stinky hippos straight to my door, so thanks. Thanks, Liam, sort of. I would be annoyed, but the hippos arrived, and then they got frozen by the cold winds, and now the Yeti's eating them like a frozen lollipop. The Yeti has just found out they are stinky hippos. Oh well, right, whoa, there is more to read, but if you want to send in anything at all, whether it's a question you need to have answered, or a great joke, or anything else, then please get your silly melons, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Or you can leave a nice review for the show at Apple Podcasts or other places, or you can leave a message on any episode at the Spotify Q&A. And if you've posted a question there, like Judd the Ruddudpud has, thanks Judd the Ruddudpud for your brilliant question about barbecuing and eggs, then I have added it to the pile to be answered on the show. Don't worry, I have seen it. Do also check out Bust or Trust, a kids mystery podcast, which I also host and write, and comedyclubforkids.co.uk for all of our live comedy shows, which you can come to and laugh until you sick everywhere, like that Yeti. Okay, the Yeti is still being sick, and the sick has frozen. I better do something about this, and while I do, you listen to this most important bit.
Yeti footprints.
Yes, it's Lulu Popplewell, aka Lulu, who makes double-decker buses out of bamboo, aka Lou Pops, campaigner against the idea of shops, or as all of our listeners who speak Morse code know you, boop 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 boop. But, Lulu, you are most well known for, all around the world, for your amazing ability to translate sneezes, for being the 8 times winner of the International Rearranging a Fridge Championships, and, of course, as everyone knows, for the time you announced you were going to refuse to obey the laws of gravity for at least a week, and you did. Lulu, it's so lovely having you on the show. How you doing?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm okay. I'm a bit sleepy because my dog was up all night barking. There were foxes in the garden at the moment, so she was desperate to tell me that they were out there. And I said, I know they're out there, but she kept going all night.
Wow,
so
it's important information, though, isn't it? I mean, are you, most people, I suppose, would probably be quite keen to know when there are foxes in their garden. Is that a useful bit of knowledge?
yeah, you've got to be aware of what's out there, certainly. But I think she was quite keen to go and have a little fight with them. Because I think she thinks it's her garden. She thinks she's in charge. So I had to sort of calm her down and say, this isn't your fight. You don't need to worry. They're not going to take over the garden. But that took up a good portion of my night when I should have been sleeping.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I think this is probably better than, I worry that one day, your dog will think, well, I'd better not bark then because I don't want to keep Lulu up. And you'll wake up the next day and the foxes will have taken over. And then
absolutely.
they rule the garden and
possibly the house. I'll wake up to a room full of foxes. And no one wants that. No one needs that.
No one at all. And I worry, I mean, I can't really work out how it would work, but if foxes had a house, would they still eat out of bins, do you think, or would they bother to lay the table?
No, I think the bins I think it's what they actively want. I don't think it's a last resort for them. I think they love the bins.
Yeah. That's nice, isn't it? I suppose it's nice someone loves the bins.
Well, I think we would all eat out of bins as well if society would let us. I think really we're holding ourselves back from bin eating.
Do you think that's the? I mean, it's interesting now you've said that because I have to say I've never really thought about it before, but they're quite handy, isn't they? Sort of like some bins, they've got the hole you can just put your arm in and grab something out of, and
yeah, they're deliberately accessible. Exactly. Sometimes you see people put food into a bin and it's just on the top, no one's touched it, and you think, oh, I would eat out of that, but people will think I'm like a fox if I do. So.
That's true, isn't it? That is true, and that is the main problem. Do you think we need to? How do we change this? Because obviously there is a problem in society. If you eat out of a bin, everyone's like, "What are you doing? You're not a fox." Do we need to just be brave and go for it?
I think we And it's interesting because this is my new campaign. You mentioned my campaign against shops. I'm now
Mm,
doing a campaign against restaurants. I'm
wow.
and in favor of us moving to the bins instead of restaurants. So that would be the logical move forward, I think.
Would
Um,
I've got a lot of questions. I think this is an interesting campaign, and I possibly might back you on it, but I've got to ask. You get rid of restaurants, but would you still have serving staff for the bins? Would you order your
oh,
food, and when your food's ready, they throw it in a bin?
yeah, obviously, because we have to have something that separates us from the animals, right?
Right,
And so
sure.
I'm seeing little waiters with bow ties. You get a knife and fork to dig into the bin.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is the issue that they can't then throw it away, so you do have to finish everything. That is the
sure,
problem.
sure, and that might include previous people's dinners if they haven't finished them.
Yes, it is. Look, it's not a perfect system, okay,
Mm,
but we're aiming to improve rather than perfect, and I think that
yeah.
that but yes,
Wow.
no, the one there to they will um they'll come and recommend pairings for you, what things
Oh,
would go well with other things. And they come and take your money at the end. It's all similar, it's just bins instead of a restaurant.
and what don't you like about restaurants? Because a lot of people like restaurants. I mean, I have to say, I've liked a restaurant or two in my life. What have you got against them?
Well, listen, I'm trying not to judge you right now.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
um, it's if you have liked them, that is okay, I suppose. I think that they are too enclosed, they are too formal. They are, it's like we're sort of pretending to be grown-ups, whereas really in our
Mm.
natural state, as I've said before, we would just be eating out of bins. It's more authentic, it's who we really are.
Sure. Yeah, and you do have to behave in a restaurant, don't you? And I'm sure many of our listeners have probably been told by their grown-ups like, "Oh, we're in a restaurant. You have to behave and you can't just run around and dance on the tables and throw custard
Exactly.
pies and, yeah.
Exactly. Whereas eating, if when you're eating out the bins, you can stand on your seat, you can throw things, you can scream, you can do what you like because it's just a bin.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. My worry is I'll tell you a little worry, and I don't know if you thought about this, but like restaurants often have to get reviews and from people so that people know that whether they're good or bad. And if you're eating out of bins, everyone's reviews would say this was rubbish. And they would mean it in a nice way,
Yes,
but it would
literally.
still sound bad.
Yes. So I think to deal with that, we would get rid of reviews because
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I think what you need to do is go up to the bin, have a little sniff, have a little look, and
Mm,
that's, you work it out for yourself. We're too reliant on all these critics and reviewers telling us what to do. We need to be sniffing out our own meals
wow.
on our own, you know?
I like that. I agree. Let's get rid of critics, absolutely. And I have to ask, for the listeners' sake, that you do campaign against shops. Would you prefer again just everything was stacked up by a bin and then we take it when we need it? Is that's what I understand the campaign was saying, right?
Yes, I think there's too much order. It's too organized.
Mm,
Everything in a shop is in, this is the aisle for biscuits, this is the aisle for cakes. I think it's better if we just leave everything everywhere and pick it up as we go. It doesn't even have to be by the bins. I just would like a nice natural chaos in the world where
oh, I like
you
that.
you walk past a cream bun if you want it, you pick it up.
That's a great idea. And do you think this would, because I tell you what I like about that as well is, you know, at home you have to tidy things up, and again, it's probably something the listeners hear quite a lot of, like, oh, you got to tidy up your room. But if the world outside is a mess, they're not going to make you tidy up your room because it looks like all these organised shops and restaurants we go to now by the bin.
Exactly, exactly. We're trying to get the outside world to look how we want it to look on the inside of our homes. So you might have heard that there's everything has its place where it needs to go. That's
Mm.
not going to be the case anymore. It goes wherever you want it to go.
This is brilliant. How? I mean, I have to say, I back this. This is brilliant. How would you find anything you needed, or would you not? I suppose you wouldn't need anything
Well,
because
yeah, that is a problem. That is,
right.
you're not the first person to have raised this issue.
Mm.
What if you want to buy something specific? Where do you go to find it? Now, I'm not a details person. I'm more of an ideas woman. Okay, so we'll be getting a team in to work out how that's gonna manage itself.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, but I'm here for the big thinking, you know.
That's good. That's good. I did what, like I wonder if you could have different streets for different things. So there's one street you go down that's got all the, but then this is starting to sound too organised, and
You're
then that
edging
ruins the
backwards
plan.
towards, yeah, you're
Yeah.
edging to the organisation again. That's how they get you. It's a slippery slope. First thing you're organising streets, next thing you know, you're back into organised aisles within shops again.
Yeah. What about having little assistants who are rats or foxes, and you sort of ask them and they gather things for you?
I love that idea. This is why I need some details, people on my, if you'd like to join my
Right.
team campaign, because this is the sort of thinking that we need. Fox assistants, very good. I could get my dog to go out and find them.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is,
great
I
idea.
mean, that's a lovely idea. Your dog can find the foxes. The foxes then can scavenge. We say that we really need, I don't know, some masking tape and 3 pairs of socks. And next thing you know, foxes brought them
What are
back.
you making there?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought it through, but I quite like um
Your
a
famous
sort of
masking tape sock soup.
yeah a multiple headed sock puppet
Oh, lovely.
maybe. Yeah, although the soup's a better idea because at least that's nourishing and the right amounts of chewy
Mm.
for a soup to be.
But then you've got the sort of, there's like a fibre from the masking tape. Do you know what I mean? I think
Mm.
that's got some vitamins in it. That's probably quite good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And depending on who's worn the socks and how old they are, they probably got protein and sort of cheesiness to them as
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, really good. It's already that's come from your. I don't think I'd even have thought about that as a recipe if it hadn't been for this sort of state of being that you're promoting. It's brilliant.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm an ideas woman, you know. I'm
Mm.
weaving rainbows. I'm sparking dreams.
you are. This is. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And then you don't necessarily know where the dreams are, but you'd have to get a fox to get them, and it could bring it
Yes, the
back.
fox will
And
fetch my dreams. Yes.
yeah, that is amazing. Well, and Luna, I have to say, I feel honoured to be in the presence of such an ideas woman already. This is more ideas than I think we may have had on a podcast by this point before. It's very very impressive. Um,
You're welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I should just say this isn't I don't need to pay you for these ideas, do I? These are
Only with appreciation. I just want to be
okay.
recognised for my work. You know, I want to
That's
be remembered.
great. I'm pretty. Do you know what? I'm pretty sure that that anybody listening to this will, after hearing this, throw everything they have onto the floor and shout for Lulu as they do it. And I think that would be allowed in whatever home or school situation they're in.
Yeah, that's what I do it for. That's
Mm.
that's all the payment I need.
Wow, that's pretty good. And that makes sense as well because you don't need money if you can just pick up everything you need from by a bin. So
Well, exactly. Now you're
yeah.
getting it.
Oh, it's a
This
full
is the
circle.
system.
It's very good. Very good. Well, listen, Lily, I'm so grateful that you had time to come on the podcast in between all your campaigning. I've got a very important question that I think you are the person that can help me answer it. But before that, I have got some admin questions. How do you feel about admin questions?
Well, let me hear them and then I'll know how I feel.
That's very diplomatic. I like that. You may so if you hear them and you don't like them, are you going to just back out and refuse to do them, or are you going to
Oh
do
yeah, I'll
them
slam the laptop shut. End of conversation. No, no warning. Just walk away.
Wow, I don't want you to do that, but also no one's done that before, so I'm sort of excited.
Just a hard exit. Yeah.
Yeah, you just go and then that's it, and that's the end. And you wouldn't even get to the question we need you to answer. But I suppose okay, I've got to be careful then. There's two admin questions. I think they get increasingly harder, but
Okay.
this may end after one. So this is a new level of jeopardy for Radio Nonsense. Um, I'm
Let's
excited
do
to see how it
it.
goes. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. Well, listen. The first question. Oh God, this could go wrong. The first question, Lulu, is what is this? That's it.
What is this?
Hmm.
You know, I actually I do like this question.
Okay.
Um,
Phew. Oh, thank goodness. Right.
what is this? This is a dream, uh, a thought, a whisper on the wind, if you will, a fart from someone's imagination. This is a sort of a gently gliding reverie, lost on the sands of time to the old gods.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't
That's, I
do you
mean,
not think,
that's, sorry?
do you not think that that's what this is?
Well, I wasn't aware that you and me were currently sort of surfing on a fart. I mean, that's quite a place to be, and it makes a lot of sense, I think.
Yes, I mean it smells that way, certainly.
It does smell that way. There's a sort of a movement and a thickness to the air, definitely. That's yeah, that I could be, and in a dream, my concern, yeah, I suppose if this is a dream, at some point you're gonna have to wake up and then record it with you again, and I don't know if you'll want to do it again.
I
You've got
will, and
lots
we'll
of stuff
do
to
it
do.
exactly the same way.
Right, right.
So I hope you've been paying attention.
But hang on, would you do the exact same way until this point, where you then say it was a dream, and then we'd have to wake up again? Like, is this
Yes,
a trap? Right.
this is Inception. This is
Oh,
the
this.
plot of the Inception.
Which all of our listeners have seen, and if you we're trapped within a dream
I
within a
haven't seen
dream.
it.
You haven't seen it.
It's just what I imagine the plot is.
Yeah, you see now this is definitely a dream because it's where you've brought up something, but the awkward bit of the dream is you don't know actually what the thing is because you haven't seen it. Whereas in reality, it's like it's an anxiety dream, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, a lot of this does feel like an anxiety dream.
Oh no. I really don't like dreams where when you think you're in a dream and then you wake up and then you're still in the dream. Like I find that too stressful.
Oh, my thing I hate, I have a lot where I dream something and I wake up and I can't work out for a little while whether I'm still in the dream or not. So the thing that
Yeah,
happened in a dream feels so real. So, I've lost something in the dream and I wake up and for a good 5 minutes, I still think I've lost this thing. I hate that.
that's not good. Do you prefer dreams that are really bananas and weird and strange, or the dreams that are incredibly boring? What do you like?
I like the bananas strange ones
Mm,
because sometimes I wake up and think, oh, well done, me and my imagination. Well done for thinking of that. I couldn't
that's
think of that during
nice.
the day. I couldn't think of that when I need to be creative and do some work, but it's nice to know that it's in there somewhere in the
Yeah,
nighttime.
have you ever had a really boring? Because I agree. I like all the really really strange ones, and then every now and then I'll have one where it's like, oh, I just went to post a letter, and I wake up and
Yeah.
think, what was that? That was
Yeah.
rubbish.
It's
Yeah,
usually it's usually dreams about admin, and as we
yeah.
know, I'm very on the fence about admin, so it's never good.
Wow, that is good. I'm also pleased in this dream you haven't yet slammed the laptop down and walked away from this admin. But
No,
in real life, you might do.
yeah, well, and in the dream I might still yet, so don't count your
Sure,
chickens.
sure.
Sorry,
I don't.
I don't mean to be threatening. I'd like to just be honest about the fact that might happen.
That's fair. It's also I just sometimes I do have to count my chickens because otherwise you might have lost one, and I people
That's
sometimes say that, and I always think, but how do I know they're all there and present and one of them hasn't run away?
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, I understand that, but I think that's very much the stock taking attitude of a
Mm,
supermarket worker.
yes,
So
right.
you've got that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, maybe I should just leave the chickens by a bin
Let the
and see
chickens
what happens.
roam around. Pick one up if you want one.
Mm,
We
yes,
have got
better.
chickens in my house, not in my house, in my garden, and
Right,
I did try to pick one up the other day, and it does turn out that they do not like that. They are
sure.
not. They will kick up a fuss if you try to pick them up.
Wow, and that and now you see you bring around the full. This is why the you need no foxes in the garden
Well, exactly. I think the foxes are specifically in my garden rather than my neighbours because we have
because of
chickens. I think
chickens.
if anything, we're encouraging the foxes.
Yes, yeah, it's a bit unfair, really. You're like, hey, come in, we got chickens. Oh, there's a dog. It feels
Yeah.
like a really mean fox trap, and I can't foresee them wanting to work as your little, um, you know, mess servant gatherers if you're
No,
messing about like this.
we will have to broker some sort of peace agreement, set up negotiations, send someone in to sort of liaise between us and the foxes. But I do believe this can be achieved.
Yeah, well, that's good. I like the positive outlook, even if it is while we're in a dream. Well, thank you. Thank you, Lily, for answering admin question number 1. I'm going to brave admin question number 2. We'll see. This could be the end of this interview. I don't know. I'm still quite worried.
Good luck to you.
I think it's up to me.
Good luck to you, I said.
Oh, good luck to me. Oh, good luck to me. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah. I hope you enjoy this and don't this doesn't make you run away. But this is harder as well, I think. But take your time on it if you choose to answer it. So, Lulu, would you rather be a giant apple or wherever you went, people threw apples at you?
Oh. Now, do I close the laptop and walk away? No, I'll answer this.
Phew.
I think I would rather be a giant apple. Now, what I'm thinking is either way, in either scenario, I'm going to get bruised. Apples bruise, and if people threw apples at me, a human, I would bruise. So that's kind of much of a muchness. I think how giant are we talking?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? I don't know, because it's just bigger than a normal apple. So you could be a human-sized apple, you could be a 50-foot high sized apple, or you could just be an apple that's much bigger than a normal apple.
Maybe the size of New York, seeing as that is the Big Apple.
Oh, that is the Big Apple, of course. Yeah, of course.
I think if I walked everywhere and people were throwing apples at me, indiscriminately, whether they liked me or not, I would spend my whole time thinking that people didn't like me, even though I know it's a rule they've got to throw apples at me. If I'm a big apple, people want to come see me. They're thinking, that's cool. What's going on there? It's it's a giant talking apple. They might want to take a bite out of me. I'm not hugely fond of the idea, but I think that would be less painful than having apples thrown at me. I think that's what I'm going with.
I like that. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. What about like little creatures that might eat bits of you?
Oh, little ants and that.
And little worms, yeah.
Little wormies. I think, oh, that's tricky, isn't it? I don't know that I want worms crawling around my insides. It's not something I've dreamed of happening ever since I was a little girl. Do you know what? I think I'd have to learn to be okay with it. I think I would have to, I would access my inner Zen. I would meditate. I would just let the world do what it needed. And if the worms come, the worms come.
What would you do if, because I'm thinking about the other sort of giant fruit-based adventures I know of, and there's James and the Giant Peach, and of course people end up living in the Giant Peach and then having a proper adventure. And how would you feel about that?
Oh, I would love that. I would love to be host to a massive adventure. That would be great. How much joy I could bring by being a vessel for a big Roald Dahl type adventure versus people throwing fruit at me like I'm in the old days when they put people in the stocks to tell them off and throw fruit at them. I'd much rather.
That is true. Well, I'd say the other side then is, I say people throw apples at you, but I haven't said they definitely hit you in the face. Like, you could be catching all of them and keeping them in a basket.
That's some interesting lateral thinking. Yes, that is a good point. But I think even then, what am I doing with this insane amount of apples?
It's a lot of apples, yeah.
A lot of apples to be, like, you couldn't give away that many apples. I mean, if I lived a life where I didn't see many people, that might be nice. But say you walk down Oxford Street on a busy day, that's hundreds of apples.
That's a lot of apples.
Yeah, and I think, what am I doing with them? I can't, if I keep them all at home, they'll go smelly, they'll go rotten, I'll get flies. No, I think, a lot of people often think, oh, I'd love to have loads of apples, but you don't think about the long term, do you?
No, well, it's why because there's the phrase, if life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, but then nobody's made up if life gives you apples, because you wouldn't know what to do.
Apple juice, I suppose.
Yeah.
But you'd be giddy if you drank that much apple juice. I mean,
it wouldn't be good for you, yeah.
It wouldn't be good for you at all.
Yeah. Well, so going for the giant apple. That's a very sensible decision. I hope it brings you adventures.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering both and not slamming the laptop away. There is one more question. This isn't admin now. This is the reason I've got you here. But I still fear there may be a chance for you to just slam the laptop down and run away. This could be
It's always a risk with me. It's
sure.
always a risk.
I understand that. I knew that when I asked you to join us on the show, and I appreciate that. And I think it's if anything, it creates an air of excitement. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows if Eva, who's asked the next question, will get her question answered, or if we'll never know the answer for the rest of eternity. Yeah.
What's Eva saying?
Well, Eva, who is it says Eva USA, and I assume that means she's from the USA. It could be that that's her surname, which is a very interesting surname.
It would be a good surname.
Yeah. It's also, she doesn't say if she's from the USA, she doesn't say which bit. So I assume she's from all of it. Just all
She's
of the USA.
constantly roaming, constantly traveling, never in the same place twice.
No, that's it. Very busy is Eva. Very busy. Probably quite tired. Well, Eva says, and I'll read this all out to you. It says, Smurf. Hi, I am Eva, and I am 11 barfing stinky hippos old. Now, Lulu, I don't know if you know the stinky hippo's age range. I think that means she's about 35. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the conversion rate there? It's one stinky hippo year to
one and a bit stinky hippos. Yeah, that's right. I think that's about right. So she's 11 barfing stinky hippos old, or about 35. And my question is, do Smurf Smurf Smurfs eat stinky hippos for breakfast? What do you think?
Now, this is a very good question, and it's one that philosophers have been posing for years, actually.
Many years.
Where people trip up on this is they forget to distinguish between Smurf Smurfs and Smurf Smurf Smurfs. As we know, Smurf Smurfs are the Smurfs version of the Smurfs.
Right.
But Smurf Smurf Smurfs are their version of the Smurfs. So the Smurf Smurfs version of the Smurfs. Do you follow?
So if the Smurfs, is this as in when the Smurfs write sort of fiction about Smurfs, they write the Smurf Smurfs.
It's their own sort of cartoon. They look nothing like what our Smurfs look like.
Right, got it.
They're largely the same but green.
Right, that's a big difference, though.
Yeah. Yes, and then those green ones have their own cartoon that they call the Smurfs, which we know as the Smurf Smurfs.
Right,
and they're weirdly they're blue again, so that's confusing in and of itself.
That's very weird and unexpected. Yeah,
unexpected. Yeah, there's a limited amount of imagination that's gone on through the process.
Right.
So, famously, the Smurf Smurfs do not eat stinky hippos for breakfast. They would never. Right. They wouldn't be in a million years doing that. But the Smurf Smurfs, they're different.
Right.
For them, breakfast has to be the stinkiest meal of the day. And I know that for us, we think, no, save all your stinkies to late at night when no one's going to see you afterwards. We'll have our stinky food and then we go to bed. So it's all fine. In their culture, it's important to be as stinky as possible. So you've got to start your day right with a big stinky hippo.
All right.
And they do, and in their world, stinky hippos. It's like me with the apples. There's too many of them. So I know it sounds like to us, oh no, you've killed and eaten a hippo. But in that world, you can't move for them. There's a surplus. There's too many, so they have to eat them.
That makes sense. What's the thinking with having the stinkiest meal of the day? Is that so people don't come anywhere near you and don't give you work or anything boring to do because you're full of stinkiness, or is it just accept it? Is stinkiness something they appreciate and enjoy in Smurfs land?
Very much appreciate it. It's sort of the backbone of their culture. Is
right.
How you show respect to other people as you be. So you eat your stinky food. You go up to them. You do a big fart. You sort of wave some other smelly things in their face, and that's how you know someone respects you for the Smurfs.
Wow, that's amazing. And I suppose my question, because I think the Smurfs, the OG little guys who are blue, they were like a loving community who are defending themselves against a horrible man called Gargamel, and they're little and they run around and they then created the Smurf Smurfs. So did they make the Smurf Smurfs very different to them, and then did the Smurf Smurfs make the Smurfs very different to them? Is it like their imagination is to make something different, or are they all quite similar in some ways?
I think that the Smurf Smurfs are quite different.
Mm.
They're well, because they're green.
Sure.
But the Smurf Smurf Smurfs are, although they're blue again, entirely different. They're like sort of stick figures. Because you've got to understand the level of imagination gets less and less each layer down.
Right.
And each layer doesn't know that the layer above it has created them. Because if you think about it, the Smurfs don't know about us. And
Mm.
the logical conclusion there is that we are Smurfs to someone else above us that we don't know about. Because there's just
Whoa.
layers of Smurf creation.
And we're not blue, so that means the ones above us probably are blue,
Yeah, it
judging
seems to
by the
know
pattern.
every other one. Yeah, that's the only
Wow.
one, really.
Yeah, I'm quite sad that we also don't wear the little funny hats.
I know that is a shame. It's yeah. I think probably the level above us probably do wear the hats. We're just the unlucky level that hasn't got the hats.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Well, it was always we've gone for sort of t-shirts and tops because the Smurfs often don't wear any t-shirts or tops. They just wear a hat and trousers.
Yes, they live
Whereas
much
we've gone
freer
for
lives.
yeah,
Yeah,
we do, yeah. But we've said it's all right. We'll have t-shirts instead of hats, and
yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
it's
sensible.
interesting you mention this because this is actually another one of my new campaigns. Is that
Right.
no one has to wear anything they don't want to apart from hats. So it's just the Smurf
Wow.
hats. No tops, no bottoms if you don't want to. Just be free. Eat out of the bins. Do what you like.
But they do have to wear a hat. They do have to wear, and there has to be a Smurf hat.
Yes, because again, we need to keep ourselves separate from the animals, and that's how we'll know is the
Sure,
hat.
right. That's the main difference between because you wouldn't see a fox wearing a Smurf hat.
No, that would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. That is very silly. Wow. So just I suppose so. Smurfs and Smurfs do eat Stinky Hippos breakfast. Just out of interest, what do Smurfs eat for breakfast then if they don't eat Stinky Hippos?
Smurf Smurfs.
Hmm.
They are usually on weekdays.
Mm.
It'll be just an apple, keeping
Oh.
healthy. But then weekends for a treat, it's socks and masking tape soup all the way.
Oh my gosh! I bet they must feel gutted they're not in our. Well, because they could have had apples thrown at them by everyone they know. They could have been getting socks and masking tape soup from by the bins on a regular occasion. I feel
Yeah,
sad that they've lost out on this world.
I know, but no, no one world is perfect. We don't have the
Mm,
hats.
yeah, it's
It's
true.
you can't have everything.
You can't have everything. That's a very important message to, I
Yeah.
think, come from Eva's question. That's wonderful. Wow. Well, thank you. I mean, that's a very definitive answer. I think, I hope Eva is happy with that because she did ask, does Smurfs have Stinky Hippos for breakfast? And I mean, yes, they do. That's it. That's a.
It's incredibly lucky that you had me on for her question because I
Mm.
actually, not many people know the answer, and I've actually done a whole PhD about this. So,
Right. Are you a doctor in Smurfology?
yes, and I mean, it's sort of the odds of that happening are crazy. But yeah,
Mm.
I spent 4 years doing field research on this, and yeah, so I happen to have a very definitive answer ready. But I'm happy to share the information finally because no one would read it. No one would read my PhD when I asked them to. So great to have an
Well,
outlet.
I'm sad to hear that. When you say field research, does that mean were you looking in a field for Smurfs, or is that how it works? Or?
That's how I started. I thought, right, where am I going to find them? I went to Wimbledon Common because I thought, well, that's where the Wombles are. So
Mm,
well,
mm.
alas, no Smurfs, lots of Wombles.
Oh,
And then
good.
that didn't work. So then I had to go deep into Guatemala's sort of uninhabited areas, and I found them there. That's where, if anyone's interested,
Wow.
they're readily available. You can all go and find them. We're not talking about it enough.
Gosh, that's amazing. Gosh, another reason why We have to stop cutting down trees so that Smurfs can live happily in Guatemalan forests. Wow, Lulu. Well, listen. It's been fascinating having you on the show. Thank you so much, and thank you. Good luck with all the very important campaigns to make the world more like a bin. What have you got coming up in the next 400 years? Anything important?
I plan to beat my own record with the fridge rearranging. I think that's sort of that's a passion project. Yeah. Other than that, just training the foxes.
Sounds great. Well, listen, thank you so much again for having time to speak to us, and best luck in fox training and chaos causing.
Thank you.
Yeti and Hydro Flask. Which is better?
Thanks so much to Lulu for having time in between all her brilliant ideas for getting rid of shops to answer Eva's important question about Smurfs. Eva, I hope you liked your question, and if not, why not leave any answers you have on a Stinky Hippo, and then a Smurf will eat it, and I'll never have to see it. If you have a question that you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all, please ask your nearest silly melon, grown-ups, to help you. Email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk, or you can message on the Spotify Q&A for each episode. And if those same silly melons, grown-ups, want to support this show, they can sign you up to the advert-free Linda edition, and I've been told that the platform I put this show on will soon be adding more adverts. And those grown-ups can do that on Apple Podcasts, Acast Plus, or patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids. Yes, I know. I didn't say you could eat those stinky hippos, did I? They were a gift to go with all the others inside. Yes, there are more inside. Now stop it, or you're going to be sick again. Okay, I've got some more letters here in the mailbag. This is from I Love Piebalds in the UK. Oh, it's so cold. Who says, "Hi, it is Linda. I've been thinking about why I've not been coming to work, and it's because I've got another job at the Lemons Are Us website, but for you, potatoes painted yellow. I will apologise for not coming to work when I return from the restaurant. Horse emoji." Linda, I'm not sure you're allowed to be employed here and at my arch nemesis company, Lemons Are Us, who keep sending me potatoes painted yellow instead of actual lemons. I'd better check your contract. Is there a contract? Contract? Are you there? Hang on. When you're back from the restaurant? What restaurant? Linda, bring me back some takeaway, Linda. And some for the Yeti too, please. Okay, one last check because my face is now so frozen from this cold. Okay, this is again from Strange Blue Person Emoji, Disguised Face Emoji ×8, Smiling Emoji with Glasses ×3 in the United States, who left a review a few weeks ago, you might remember, complaining that I was not being very nice to all the silly melons out there. Sorry, I mean grown-ups. But now they say, "Thanks for trying to not call adults mean names. Also, I'm taking over the world in noodles because of Unicorn Library." Well, you are welcome. Hang on, you're taking over the world in noodles. Does that mean you're in a noodle, or you'll cover the world in noodles? Yes, I agree, Yeti. That sounds tasty. I really hope Linda brings back some noodles. I also hope the Unicorn Library has the books you need, even though unicorns struggle to read books, as they have hooves and can't turn the pages. Right, okay, that's all I can read for now. I need to get back inside. Ah, phew. So much warmer. Ah, that's much better. I really hope Comedy Club for Kids HQ travels somewhere nicer very, very soon. How did you get in here? No, bye! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.